Hello and welcome to APTN National News Weekend. I'm Daryl Stranger. We start in Alberta, where a man is facing charges following the death of a woman from the Stoney Nakoda First Nation. As a court appearance nears, family and friends of the woman are seeking answers. Tamara Pimentel has the story.
A memorial is placed along this highway that runs through the Stoney Nakoda First Nation. It was here on April 18, 2021, where police were called to assist emergency services with an unresponsive female, later identified as 23-year-old Keisha Crawler. Her mother, Heather Poussette, says she's determined to find out how her daughter ended up here.
My daughter did not ask for this. She's a mother of 2 kids. My oldest granddaughter is 5. My grandson is 3. They're asking, where is my mom?
A press release from RCMP says the investigation suggests Crawler departed from a moving vehicle, then was placed back into the vehicle. She was later found and pronounced deceased. No more information can be given at this time, and 37-year-old Brian Kelrick House Jr. has been charged with criminal negligence causing death. Poussette says House was Crawler's boyfriend.
And it's so hard to swallow because, I never think that it would come a day when I had to bury my own daughter, and it's so hard. And look at all the lives that she had touched. Look at all her beautiful friends here.
Her friends and family describe Crawler as adventurous and willing to try new things.
She made friends easy. She made her friends easy. Yeah. She was humorous and then kind, and she was really humble, compassionate. We will miss her fried bannock. She made one good fried bannock.
We talked about 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what we would be doing. I would have never thought she would be gone like this.
House has been released on bail and is to appear in Cochrane Provincial Court on May 25th. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News on the Stoney Nakoda First Nation.
Staying in Alberta, a woman from the Enoch Cree Nation says she was assaulted by security while picking up groceries at an Edmonton Walmart. APTN's Chris Stewart has more on that story.
Desiree White-Morin is a mother of 4 and 125 pounds. On April 7th, she says 3 loss prevention officers detained her. She had picked up an online order and had paid for a turkey at the register.
He just right away started accusing me of stealing merchandise. And I explained to him, asked him what was it that he thought that he was accusing me of stealing, and he was saying it was cosmetics. And that was the thing, is that I didn't go near the cosmetic aisle whatsoever.
She says 2 of the officers then got physical.
They first ripped the purse out of my hand, and that's how they broke my finger. Because I held on to my purse, that they didn't have any right to take it from me or even to search it. And also, when they did that, they dumped out all the contents. Like, one grabbed me and held me down.
In the end, they let her go. She says she lost her medications from her purse. This is not the first alleged assault at the Walmart located on Stony Plain Road. In 2017, a bystander filmed 2 security wrestling with the woman outside. One had their knee on her neck. APTN contacted Walmart Canada. They did not respond to questions asking if the loss prevention officers were Walmart employees or hired from an outside company. They did release a statement which reads, "We are aware of an incident and that police were contacted. We are looking into the incident further. Respect is a core value at Walmart Canada, and we do not condone any behavior which contradicts this value, including racism and discrimination. Walmart is committed to providing a safe and inclusive environment for our associates and our customers. Celebrating diversity and fostering inclusivity is an integral part of the Walmart culture, and we are proud to reflect the diverse communities we serve through our associates." White-Morin says she doesn't want to file a police report on the incident, but will find another store to do her shopping. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
With a need for affordable housing in Yellowknife, Indigenous leaders have been applying for government funding. But what happens when projects are rejected? Our reporter Charlotte Moore-Jacobs looks into the frustrations felt by the North Slave Métis Alliance.
This is the spot in downtown Yellowknife Bill Inge had selected to address housing needs of North Slave Métis Alliance elders.
There it is, 1, 2, 3.
Close to amenities, he hoped the federal government's Rapid Housing Initiative funding would turn this into this, a 12-unit seniors living complex. President of North Slave Métis Alliance, Bill Inge, represents roughly 300 members, many of whom live in the capital. At least 10 members are looking for seniors housing.
Cost of living in Yellowknife is one of the highest in Canada. Many of our elders are retiring and moving out of the workforce. Many of them don't own their own homes, they're renters. But now without an income, they can't afford the rent.
The North Slave Métis Alliance submitted their proposal for the Rapid Housing Initiative national funding, but were rejected because the territorial government was already sitting on a $60 million housing fund. But NSMA's Seniors Project wasn't receiving anything from that either. NSMA member Bob Mercurdy has been renting a bedroom in a shared home for the last 9 years.
And even for a one-bedroom, I've seen, $1,700. That's a mortgage payment.
Born and raised in Yellowknife, he's seen the cost of living skyrocket.
We discussed it, and we were right. We were behind him, and figured, yeah, this looks really, really good.
Would you have ever thought for yourself to move in? Yeah. The recent federal budget pledges $25 million in 2021-2022 to the NWT for housing. But whether NSMA will benefit is another story.
And we have never received 1 cent of housing funding from either the Government of Canada or the Government of the Northwest Territories through the Northwest Territories Housing Corporation.
The North Slave Métis Alliance have secured judicial recognition of its Section 35 rights as Métis. But President Inge says without a direct seat at the table for the Acacho land negotiations, funding opportunities are often missed by his membership. APTN News reached out to Indigenous Services Canada and Territorial Indigenous Affairs to ask them what funding opportunities North Slave Métis Alliance are entitled to and have received. However, we did not receive a comment by airtime. Meanwhile, the NWT housing minister says no housing proposals from the Rapid Housing Initiative were rejected indefinitely. And the GNWT is exploring other means of funding, including NSMA's project.
Well, I could have my department reach out and see what is it that they want to accomplish, what housing issue they want to address, and we could work with them that way as well.
And on top here is a patio.
A fight Inge has no plans of giving up on. Charlotte Moore-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
A series of stunning videos posted to Facebook captured an overnight fire as it raged through a historical church in the Mi'kmaq community of Listigouge on the Quebec side of the New Brunswick-Quebec border. The St. Anne's Catholic Church reportedly went up in flames around 9:30 p.m. on Monday night. 3 firefighting squads responded to the call, but the church's bells tower eventually collapsed around 1 a.m. Tuesday. The 100-year-old church is now believed to be a total loss. The cause of the fire is still unknown, and an investigation is underway.
There's sort of a heavy feeling in the community right now, and survived multiple generations of people in the community. We've all got different connections, not just from sort of the religious aspect, but it was for a long time the center of the community in terms not just physical geographical location, but in terms of events and community gatherings.
It's time for a short break, but still ahead, the TMX pipeline has been put on hold, and it's because of some very small birds. Welcome back. A Manitoba Hydro project in northern Manitoba that's been operating for almost 50 years is still facing backlash from the community it has impacted. Now, targeted billboards and bus shelter ads are calling out Manitoba's Minister of Conservation and Climate. Here's that story. Billboards like these have been placed around Winnipeg. They're paid by Change.org and are about an upcoming decision from the Manitoba government regarding the Churchill River diversion. Manitoba Hydro has been operating the diversion since the 1970s. It diverts water from the Churchill River to generating stations on the lower Nelson River. Decades of interim one-year licenses have been approved by the province, and now a decision is nearing in regards to a permanent license being granted to Manitoba Hydro. Chief Shirley Ducharme of Enoch Cree Nation says the province has not properly consulted the community about the license and the Churchill River diversion.
We are saying as a First Nation, for so many years, we have been, trying to get the consultation that we needed. They are saying, yes, your First Nation has been, consulted, but we don't see it. It's not full. There still needs to be ongoing consultation and to, help us, give us a say on what happens in the future for us.
The Manitoba government will also be making a decision on giving a permanent license to the Augmented Flow program. That program, which has been around since 1986 and is approved yearly, changes water levels and flows on southern Indian Lake to also power generating stations. Leslie Dysert is the CEO of the Community Association of South Indian Lake. He says the community was forced to move and eventually the fish populations will be depleted as well.
Everybody was told they had to move. Many of the community managers didn't want to move, but they were forced to relocate. It's collapsed the lake whitefish population. Our lake whitefish fishery was the third largest in North America before Manitoba Hydro showed up.
Jim Senka is a former Manitoba Hydro worker and worked for the Department of Fisheries and Oceans at South Indian Lake. He described why raising the water level is an issue for the water and the community.
The problem with raising the water level of a lake is that the water comes into contact with new soil it's never been in contact with, and those soil have got heavy metals in them, like mercury is the one that showed up the most, and they're going to end up in the water.
In a statement, a spokesperson for Conservation and Climate Minister Sarah Guillemard said a decision will be made soon. Quote, the minister is currently reviewing the consultation summary materials and is expected to make a licensing decision in the coming weeks. Manitoba Hydro said in a statement they are committed to working with communities. Quote, Manitoba Hydro is committed to working with Indigenous communities to address historic and more current concerns regarding hydroelectric development. Senka added Hydro needs to put the people first.
It's a really big thing for those people. It might be big money for Manitoba Hydro, but we have to think about people first.
Along with the billboards, an online petition is also calling for the minister to not approve the final license, and it has garnered over 50,000 signatures. Daryl Stranger, APTN National News, Winnipeg. Opponents of the multi-billion-dollar Trans Mountain Pipeline got some help from Mother Nature and the tiny bird, which has temporarily stopped the mega project. APTN's Tina House has the story.
Kaya George from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation grew up along this inlet, looking at the industrial development just across the water, including Kinder Morgan's Westridge dock, where 1 million barrels of bitumen oil will be loaded onto supertankers daily once the Trans Mountain Pipeline project is complete. George, along with others from her nation, have opposed the Trans Mountain Pipeline since the beginning, with the belief that a spill in these waters is inevitable.
I was taught that this inlet is our grandmother. It's our oldest grandmother, and we must do anything we can and everything we can to protect it.
But now they have help from the Hummingbirds in stopping part of the massive project. Sarah Ross and Donna Clark are part of the Nest Finders network and saw the construction crews were clearing an area where hummingbirds were nesting, so they brought in 2 wildlife officers to see what was happening.
I knew where she was nesting, and as we got close, we could hear the chainsaws, and we saw the tree fall, and all of us saw it, and that was when the wildlife officer said, "Stop the work." And they did. The guy got on his walkie-talkie, stopped the work. The cutter came out. We walked right in there, and I was able to locate the branch, the broken branch on the ground, with the nest still attached, and it was destroyed.
The company has been ordered to stop work in the area until after the hummingbird nesting season is over in late August. In a statement, the company said, "The order applies to the specific work package, which is an area covering approximately 1,000 meters of private land between the Trans-Canada Highway and a rail corridor, and restricts certain construction activities. Trans Mountain will proceed with any work within the 1,000-meter area not subject to restrictions of the order." Donna Clark is happy they were able to utilize a federal government law to give a temporary reprieve from the project.
A federal law, the Migratory Bird Convention Act, which it makes it against the law to destroy or disturb nests, including eggs, during nesting season. And of course, it's spring, it's nesting season.
Eugene Kung has represented numerous Indigenous nations in fighting the project in the courts.
Any delays are going to cause some form of increase in cost. And of course, with every cost increase, the project falls further outside of the public interest.
Hummingbirds represent good luck, and they represent what is to come. And I think in this situation, it's very clear of what is to come, and that's ultimately the defeat of the Trans Mountain Pipeline.
Tina House, APTN National News, North Vancouver.
3 women in Saskatchewan are making history, and it's the first time that the Woodland Cree area has been governed by 3 women at the same time. APTN's Priscilla Wolf has that story.
Karen Bird, a member of the South End Cree Nation, was elected chief of the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation this week.
I am very humbled, first of all, to be the first woman in my community of South End Reindeer Lake, my home community, to be the first chief here.
Bird comes from a line of leaders.
My great-grandfather, Arthur Morin, was a chief also. So I come from a line of leadership, and, as a young girl, I've always admired what kind of work.
Bird now joins her good friend, Chief Joyce McLeod of Montreal Lake Cree Nation, and Chief Tammy Cook-Searson, who has been the chief of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band for 16 years. McLeod says the trio are connected to the land and their culture.
All 3 of us are hunters, we're trappers, and we're fishermen. All 3 of us. Because we originate from that's the background, how we were raised, and we are so connected to our culture, so connected with our language.
Chief Tammy Cook-Searson says she is looking forward to working with these women leaders.
I'm really proud of Chief Karen Bird that just got elected with the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, and I actually talked to her just a little while ago to congratulate her. And I also spoke to Chief Joyce Natahaw McLeod this afternoon, and just talking about business with FSIN. So I'm looking forward to working with them.
Chief Bird says they will be having meetings speaking Woodland Cree.
I love to speak my language when I can, and now that I can, speak to Tammy is a fluent speaker, and Chief Tammy is very involved in her traditional roots, and so am I, and so is Joyce.
Bird says the membership chose her, and she will make them proud.
It's also a great day, in our Woodland Cree Nation, to celebrate, we've made history.
Priscilla Wolf, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
We need to take one more break, but still to come, how a young Ojibwe woman from Northern Ontario has taken her hunting and fishing skills to a whole new level. Welcome back. A young Ojibwe woman from Northern Ontario has taken her hunting and fishing skills to a whole new level. She's living, leading, and sharing a positive example of her First Nation hunting heritage. Here's Annette Francis with that story.
Shauna Erickson, along with her husband Chris and guide Ken, are getting ready for an evening shoot, one that will involve both hunting and cameras.
Safety's on. Good to go. Time to lay a hurtin' down on some turkeys.
This husband and wife team live a field-to-table lifestyle, but they're not only here to put food on the table. They're also creating an episode for a television series called Wild North Adventures. It's a project Erickson began on her own a few years ago.
I started filming my own hunts and just putting it on YouTube, and then I guess the hunts got put to the CEO of Wild TV, Canada's leading hunting and fishing network, and they approached me and said, "Hey, would you like a television show?" And of course, I said of course, yes, because I'm the first female First Nation hunting show on national television for Wild TV.
Erickson is Ojibwe and a member of the Matachewan First Nation. She learned her fishing and hunting skills from her father. And while she says it's great to be able to educate others on her way of life and culture on a national platform, she also occasionally receives hate mail.
I take it as a blessing. I give my tobacco, I give my thanks. I speak to my elders on how I should portray myself because everyone's watching. All eyes are on me, and we haven't done this before. So to be able to have an opportunity like this, to be able to speak out about the way that we do things, our beliefs, how important our family, our people, our elders, our knowledge, our language is to us. It's not just a hunting show. It's education.
According to Erickson, Wild North Adventures has now signed on for a second season with 4 national networks. They're creating 18 new episodes. It's an opportunity for Erickson to learn as well.
But this is the first time that I've ever cleaned a turkey. This is my second turkey that I've ever shot in my lifetime. So where we're from, we have bear and moose and grouse and you name it, but we don't have turkeys. So I'm learning from probably one of the best here in the area, and I'm enjoying it. I love learning new skills of the trade when we're outdoors, and this is like being able to provide a field-to-table lifestyle for my family is probably one of the most important things that I've ever done. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay.
Erickson has 2 more days to hunt turkeys before heading to Lake Superior to fish during the spring run. Enoch Francis, APTN National News, Alderville, First Nation.
That's all we have for this edition of APTN National News Weekend. Thank you for joining us. I'm Daryl Stranger. Have a safe and healthy weekend.